Hello everyone, it's Dragana from Sasebo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a lot of dry dead leaves on my desk. And the reason for that is because I want to make some dies for our papers. Yay, I've already tested some of these, but not all of them. I tried hazelnut leaves, I tried chestnut leaves, and I tried lemon leaves. But I haven't tried walnut and I haven't tried oak. We're going to do the same thing with each of these leaves. We're going to fill out the pot with these leaves that we picked off the ground. And I'm just going to cover them with water. All right. So I've got about 1 liter of water here. And I want this to be completely covered with water. Okay. And that's what I can fit in this pot. If you want to make a lot of dye, you have to pick more leaves and add more water and use bigger pot. But I'm doing it like this, all right? So they're all nice and covered. I'm going to turn the heat to max until it boils. Once it boils, I'm going to turn the heat down and make it simmer for about an hour. When you do this, please don't use the pot that you normally use for cooking. Have one pot that's just for dyeing. That's what I do. This one's for dyeing. I keep it in my studio so it doesn't get confused with the regular pots that I use for cooking. That's just a precaution. And also have your window open. You don't want to necessarily inhale all the fumes. When I tried this with lemon leaves, I actually loved it. The whole house smelled beautifully fresh from the lemon leaves. But not all leaves will give out nice smell. All right, so I just want to mention that. You might not have the same leaves available to you as I have. I have these growing around me in my backyard and this one in a pot. So I'm trying them. But if you have different trees available to you in your local park, in your backyard, or, you know, anywhere you can find them, going bushwalking, I don't know. So use those and test them. Because obviously there's so many trees there, I can't test them all, but I can test the ones that are easily available to me. I'm going to do exactly the same with all of these, all right? And I won't show you the process for all of these, it will take too long, but you get the idea. You take a deep pot, you place leaves halfway, you cover with water, all right? So if you have a very large pot and you want to make a lot of dye, obviously you'll need more leaves and you'll need more water. And you let it boil. Once it boils, turn the heat down and let it simmer approximately for about an hour. And by then you will know if there's any dye in them or not. One thing I want to stress out, this might not work with all the leaves. I'm using leaves from trees, all right? Maybe some other plants can give you different dyes or some flowers, but now we're doing this only with dead leaves from trees. Let's leave this to cook. It's been an hour and I think this is done. So I've turned the heat off. Let's just wait about half an hour until it cools down a little bit and then we'll drain it. Okay, I hope you can see it's better now. It cooled down and I can safely pour it into this jar and I've labeled it walnut leaves. I'm going to use this and this just in case there's some loose bits. I'm just going to pour into the jar. Okay, that's it. Could probably squeeze a bit more, but I didn't put the gloves on, so I don't really want to. Right, and let's have a look. Gonna do this. Close that down and let that dry. Okay, so now I'm going to repeat the same process with all of the other leaves that I've shown you at the start of the video. So the same thing for chestnut leaves, hazelnut leaves, oak leaves, and for lemon tree leaves. Once I do that, we'll continue the video. Alright, here I am back 24 hours later. I have all the dyes. I made them in the same way as the first one. And you're going to see in a minute that basically they all look kind of the same apart from the lemon leaves. Have a look. Put the labels on so I don't mix them up. So the lemon one looks kind of yellowish and orange, but the rest all look almost like coffee. All right, I'll put that away for now, and I'm going to put that there. I have 5 tubs here, and I'm going to pour all the dyes in the tubs. Okay, I'm putting chestnut here. Actually, I'm going to leave the lids. I'm going to leave the lids in front so I know what is what. Okay. We have walnut. And here we have oak. I guess you can see the differences between those a bit better now when they're spread like that. Okay, and I've got the lemon. For each of these, I prepared like 3 small sheets of paper. This is just copy paper or cartridge paper, printer paper, whatever you want to call it. It's 80 GSM. So I'm going to just put that inside. I have these to press. I was thinking of leaving these for 24 hours. I think that would be sufficient to get the maximum color. Normally when I do A4 size, I just go with a brush or dip in a bath like this for about 3 or 4 hours and then take it out. But I want to see how dark or how saturated it can go, so I'm going to leave it 24 hours. And I have one little doily here. I'm going to put that in just so that we can see the difference between the paper and the fabric. This is cotton. That's another little doily. It's also cotton. And I've got this lace, which is perhaps cotton thread and some silk or synthetic. I'm not sure, so I'm going to put that in just to see if it's going to take the color on. All right, so these are no alum, nothing really done to these fabrics, just as they are. And I'm just placing them in here. I'm just going to leave that there like that, or maybe like this. Okay, now let's do the oak leaves. Okay, let's see what's going to be the color. So this looks like it's going to be like brown. Okay, like that, and then that one there. I'm really excited to see how it's gonna look on fabric. I've been testing some of these with the gauze, but not with the piece like this. I think it's cute. I just want to make sure it's all covered nicely. All right, and that one as well. Perhaps I should actually turn this like that. Might be a better way. Maybe it will soak more. I'm going to do the same with the other one. Just going to turn it upside down. Yep. All right. Now let's do the walnut leaves. Yes. So we do that one. This one looks a little bit reddish, doesn't it? I mean, of course, once we take the papers out and dry them, they're not going to be this dark, I'm sure. But we'll see what's going to happen. So we're not using any additives, nothing. No alum, no copper, and no iron. But I've done experiments with those, and I'll show you the results at the end of the video. But now for this experiment, we are just using leaves, boiled leaves, all right? These little ones just don't want to soak the liquid at all. All right, chestnut leaves. Let's see here, that's darker brown, much darker. So we have a yellow, like this is orangey, reddish, and now we have a really dark brown here. Yesterday I sent my husband to buy me 5 tubs that fit quarter of A4 size paper. Poor guy. He spent half an hour in the shop looking for the right one, but he got them really well. They're really perfect. Got the right ones, I'm glad. And I said, you have to bring me those, I need them for the experiment. And because all the other tubs are so much bigger and I wouldn't be able to fit 5 in the screen, and this is perfect. So yeah. All right, cool. And the hazelnut. Let's see, oh, this one's kind of similar to that one. For now anyway. Right. So we placed everything in these tubs, and I'm going to wait approximately 24 hours. So I will be back tomorrow to take them out. I have left 1 sheet of paper, one of these, just as they are. And this is because once we take these out, dry them, we can compare better what they looked like and what they're going to look like after this. Okay. So excited. Here I am 24 hours later, and I'm ready to take them out. So I'm just going to push them away a little bit because I need some room here. And I prepared some paper, and I thought I might as well use those lids, because when I take these fabric pieces, these doilies, they'll need to drain a little bit first. So let's start with lemon. I'm definitely going to put my gloves on. Okay, let's have a look. I will need to rinse the fabrics. Okay. So yeah, maybe best to leave them here first. I'm going to take them to the washroom and I'm going to rinse the fabrics, and then I'll put them back here on the paper to dry. And here we go. I'm just going to lay these down flat. This paper. I'll just rinse these quickly under cold water, and then I will be back. Memorize what they look like now. Okay, I'm back, and here they are. Obviously lighter, a lot of the color washed off, especially on this one. But you can see the edges a little bit quite a little bit of color. We'll compare later to the original anyway. So I'm just going to place these here too. Okay, so that is the lemon. And I think I'm going to keep this die. There's still some color in it, and I might do some just plain A4 size papers with this one. And I'll put this one to dry flat like this. Okay, we have the oak now. Let's have a look. I'm excited to see what this looks like. So I'm going to take these out and place them here because I need to rinse them. Papers look quite dark. Right, I'll just quickly go and rinse this. It is a bit lighter now, but still it took the color really well. We'll see what happens once it dries. Alright. Okay. And I'm going to keep this die. I'll make some papers. And I'll put that on my desk to dry flat. Okay, walnut. Let's have a look. What's going on there? I think these lids are really handy. Okay, this looks really dark now. We'll see what happens once we rinse. I suppose I could maybe even leave these like that without rinsing, but I'll just rinse just in case. Alright, let's have a look at the papers. Lovely color. Okay, I'll go and rinse quickly. This one definitely a bit lighter, but look at the areas where it has probably cotton thread. It's darker than silk or synthetic thread anyway. And these have really lovely color. Okay, let's put that there. And I'm gonna leave that. Beautiful. Now chestnut. All right. What do we have in here? Here's the lid. Ooh, very dark. This one's really intense, and I think I used the leaves that were really brown, or actually turned really dark reddish brown. Beautiful. Let's rinse this, memorize it. There we go. I'm amazed how dark that stayed. I mean, we didn't use any mordants on these fabrics. And yet it's maybe I didn't rinse properly. Oh, that's all right. Okay, so we've done chestnut, and one more to go. Hazelnut. Let's have a look. Almost like orange color. Love it. Right, memorize that. I'm gonna go and rinse it. I think I love the hazelnut results the best, but we'll see once it dries. Okay, looks really like orange, between orange and pink. When I tried this with hazelnut leaves earlier, before the leaves turned really dark brown, they were kind of yellow. I had more pink results. All right, so that is done too. So that's hazelnut. As you can see, I laid them flat on the table and I'm going to let them dry completely. I assume it's gonna take at least 24 hours, so I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow again and we can review the results, and I'll show you my other experiments just so that you can see what can be achieved. I'm back. These are dry, and I've only ironed these ones because they were really wrinkled. Let's have a look. This is lemon. Looking good. And I love these papers too. Dye from the papers transferred onto these, so I can do little doodles or drawings on these. That's really good. All right, put that aside. We have walnut here. Again, lovely color. I'll just stack them up like this so that we can see them one next to the other. Again, beautiful areas for drawings. Hazelnut, really pink and dark. I suppose this page was on the top, that's why it's darker. The rest are a little bit lighter. But have a look on this paper, which is sketchbook paper. The result is a little bit more orangey, while the papers look a little bit more pink, of sienna brown. Okay, now walnut. No, this is chestnut, sorry, chestnut. Wow, I'm loving it. Gorgeous brown, like really dark coffee. Okay, and the last one is oak leaves. All right, oak leaves, a little bit lighter. Now this is more like coffee or tea or something. All right, okay, I want to put them like this. Or is this how we had them? I think we had them like this originally. How cool is that? I love the result, and this is the original. All right, so we had different colored doilies, all different. Although some for a while I thought oak leaves and hazelnut will look the same, but we have 5 different shades. Love it. I love it. It's really cool. All right, put that back. So that worked out for that one. Now let's have a look at this. So we definitely had a different color happening there. These two are similar, but this one's more pink, this one's more like ochre. That's a bit darker than that, and this one's even more pink. So that worked out good as well, I think. And the same goes for these, although the base color for these was already beige, but they turned out the same, almost the same as the other ones. And the papers, put them like this, one next to the other. Wow, compared to the white, I think the results are awesome, and I'm very, very happy with this. I just want to mention this. I live in the part of the world where it's autumn now, and I can make a lot of dye now, but I won't necessarily use it now. So the way I do this is I make it and then I put them in plastic bottles. This is chestnut leaves, and in the freezer. And if during the summer I need to dye some papers, or if I need it for an experiment, I can just defrost it. And I've been doing that with pomegranate dye and with grape juice dye. All right, so I have some lemon leaves here, and I've got a bit of hazelnut. So I'm going to perhaps maybe make a bit more of the hazelnut, so I have a full bottle, and I'll put it in the freezer. I had a little bit left of these. Maybe I'll make more, maybe not, but I can use them to dye a few papers and maybe do some watercolors or something. And I put some in a spray bottle to spray the papers, and some in these. So that's really one way of using them. And because these are in plastic, they can go in the freezer as well. But I wouldn't recommend freezing the spray bottles because it might damage the pump. All right, so wouldn't recommend freezing those. And I put some of the dyes in these watercolor brushes, and I've been playing. I'll show you like this. And also with some of my botanical prints, where is it? Oh, it's this one. I just tried coloring that side, and here I have a few more examples. I've done this the other day when I had some grape juice dye. Yeah, this is all natural dyes, okay? Pomegranate, grape juice, and some other dyes here as well. The pink is from the avocado leaves, and then you have some grape juice and some other colors. So yeah, I was just testing how these dyes would react with other colors. Here, look at that green. That's grape juice and pomegranate skin. This one turned out nice too, that one. Yeah, so, oh, I love this one too. So yeah, you can go back and use them on your botanical prints as well, or do some watercolors. I've also tested all of these with alum, with copper mordant, and with iron mordant, and I'm going to share these results with you now. I just want to compare our results with the ones I've done earlier. These turn out a little bit brighter yellow or deeper yellow, and it could be because I left them in the dye for 24 hours. With these ones, I left them maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then I took them out. And have a look. When I added copper to the lemon dye, I ended up with papers that are actually more like these. All right. And then when I added iron, they turn a little bit more like beige, almost coffee color. Okay. Now I've also tested on these gauzes. Okay, so here we have only lemon leaves. Then we have gauze that was treated with alum first and then lemon leaves, so it gave a little bit more intense color. With copper mordant, it was really bright yellow, and with iron mordant, this is the result. Okay, so that is the lemon leaves. Now let's have a look at oak. Where is our oak? It's here. I really love how this one turned out. As you can see, this is much darker. I left it longer and I used more concentrated dye. These were in the dye for a short amount of time. It still has almost like coffee dyed paper, but it's the same shade, only these turn out a bit darker. and more even. I think I used just brush here. With the copper, yeah, it turned a little bit lighter with the copper, and with iron it gave beautiful grey, lavender grey kind of color. I like it too. Okay, so put that there as well. And the fabrics, those gauzes, this is just with oak leaves. So obviously this one took a little bit more dye, that one too. And this is if you treat the gauze with alum first and then you add oak leaves, you get a little bit more, kind of more ochre. This is more like beige or tan. This is more like yellow ochre. Very nice colors. This is with when you add copper mordant, and that's when you add iron mordant. You end up with a nice gray color. So as you can see, even if you have just one of these trees or leaves available to you, you can achieve so many different shades and colors, and dye your papers and have really special papers for your journals. All right, so what do we have here? Walnut. Again, we got a bit darker color here because we actually left the paper in the dye for a longer period of time, and there were less papers obviously, and probably more dye in a way. If I was to dilute that with water to put more papers in, it would end up a lighter shade, but anyway, you know what I'm getting at. So definitely if you leave the papers overnight, you'll end up with a darker result. So I really love this, but this is nice too. Okay, so walnut and copper kind of turned a bit more yellowish. I used a brush and just one of those technique, and this is with iron. Again, gray color, but it is a different gray than this one. Okay, so every time I got a different color, and with each of these leaves, don't think there are two that are the same. Okay, so this is with walnut leaves only, and that's also with walnut leaves only. Okay, I absolutely love how walnut leaves give such different colors. I mean, from this kind of beige pinky color to kind of warm yellow, orange, and then gray, and that's just from walnut. This is when you treat it with alum and then walnut dye. This is when you add copper to your dye, and that's when you add iron mordant to your dye. Right, so I'm just amazed. Oh, what do we have here? Chestnut. All right, chestnut leaves. This is sweet chestnut. Also another one of my favorites, really intense colors. I'm loving it. Again, slightly beigey color, but then if you treat it with alum first, you get like ochre. That's when you add copper mordant, and that's when you add iron mordant, really dark gray. I'm just really happy with these results. And here we had a darker results because we left it in the dye for longer, and even that is a surprise. If I was to rinse it even further, maybe it would end up being lighter, but I don't know. It looks really good. And this one too, like really dark coffee color, just with chestnut. Again, I think I used the brush technique, so it turned lighter. When I added copper, it just went a little bit lighter or more yellowish, and that's when I added iron. And I'm very happy with these papers and with the fabrics too. Okay, and one more to go. Hazelnut. I love this one. Also very happy with this one. This turned out almost pink, very similar to avocado leaves or avocado pits and skin. Pink. And these ones turned even darker pink. That's the darkest it went. I think this one was on top when it was in that bath, so it went really dark. Love it. And then this one too, really pretty, kind of like sienna brown, pink, can't explain. And that one as well. Okay, so when I treated the fabric with this gauze with alum, I ended up with a more orange color. When I added copper, we got this yellow, and when I added iron mordant, again we got a really like a dark brownish gray. And the same for the papers. That's just hazelnut. Hazelnut with copper gives this really nice ochre color. I love it, almost like rust color. And that's when you add iron. And there's one more that I've done that I want to show you. It's cherry. I really loved it. Look at that pink. That's when you just use cherry leaf. This is the sweet cherry, the one that, you know, gives us fruit to eat. So that's really pink, isn't it? Like baby pink. But then if you add alum first, you end up with this kind of yellowish orangey color. With copper mordant, it gets beigey pink. And this is a beautiful gray when you add iron mordant. The papers as well. I absolutely love the papers too. A bit lighter results, but I'm loving it. And I've done a lot more, obviously. This is my collection of dyed gauzes. This is how I keep track. And I've got the recipes there as well. So if you'd like to learn about more recipes to get all these lovely colors, I'm sharing those in our Facebook group called Crafting with Sasibo. And every time I try something, I'm gonna upload it there. Look at that one. That's a beautiful blue color. Alum first, black grapes, then copper mordant. That's the recipe, so I don't forget. And I'm gonna add all of these into my collection of dyed gauzes. Okay, so these papers are gonna go in the journals that I'm working on, and I hope to have them finished very soon. And one more thing before I forget, I kept a few leaves in the water. I picked the ones that looked all right, okay? And I'm gonna keep them in the water for about 2 weeks because I want to try and make some skeleton leaves. One of my viewers, I'm so sorry I've forgotten the name, I should have written down on a piece of paper. She suggested to me that I should have a look at a video of someone making skeleton leaves. And I really love that video. And I don't have that same plant, but I have these leaves and I want to see if it's possible. So thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to try, and if it works out, I'll share it in the video. I hope this was informative and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.